Hey, welcome back to the Ember Log. Today I'm going to be discussing sort of how I get through each day, or get through the days in general. I know it's been a little bit since I made the last Ember Log, and that is because life has actually been kind of busy between streaming, working on art, trying to figure out social media stuff and other stuff, playing VR, which has really been awesome lately, and working on game dev for VR. Yeah, life's just been kind of crazy. So anyway, let's get into it. Don't want to make this too long because I always record these late at night for some reason. So, how do I get through the days? Well, I've figured out over the past, I don't know, I would say 5 years, I've been working on trying to figure out what it takes for me to thrive in life. Haven't figured that out yet, but I know four key elements that I need in my life in order to live a decent life. And these are specific to me, obviously, so take from it what you will. The four things I need, I think I have four. I might only have three. Anyway, yeah, let's begin. The first one is some sort of regular social interaction. I thought for the longest time I didn't need this. I was super shy. I spent most of my time alone, doing my own thing. But over the years, I realized that no, I am actually not good at being alone. Uh, I need some sort of social interaction. I'm much more of an extrovert than I am an introvert, which is very unfortunate given my situation. But I digress. The second thing that I very much need is creative outlets. If I go even just 4 or 5 days without doing something creative, my mood actually begins to tank. It's kind of insane, but yeah, I need some sort of creative outlets. The third thing that I need is something, some sort of outlet, like the creative one, but just to get thoughts out of my head, both good and bad. Um, my mind is a constant chaotic storm of thoughts, and there is always more input than there ever is output. So I need some way to just get those thoughts out, whether it's a daily log that I keep on my computer that I just update periodically, or some other more public outlet. I need something. And finally, the last thing that I need is. Did I even have a last thing? I guess the last thing is sort of tied into the other things. All of them are a bit broad and could be broken down further, so I'm going to stick with three of them for now and how they relate to how I live my life. So, the first one being social interaction, obviously hard to come by when you can't leave the house and you have very few interests that actually stick around for very long. It's hard to actually become a part of communities when your curiosity is constantly driving you to jump to the next thing. But the couple things that I've found are, of course, the long-term friends that I've had that also enjoy playing games. So that's one way that we've been able to um, have a sort of somewhat regular interaction with each other and shared experiences to keep things going. So that's good. It's been obviously a bit rough the past few years as people have gotten out of school and start to live, adult lives. Turns out a lot less time on their hands, where I have sort of endless time. So that was a very, very hard transition. I won't lie. It was really, really difficult for me. It was in the past few years when that was all happening that I realized just how much I needed people and how much I had been using that friend group as a crutch to, instead of actually putting myself out there and trying to find other communities to become a part of. They were there, and so I didn't see the need. Um, and it was a real disservice to myself, to them, to everybody. But you know, that's what I've learned, and so I've started to work on, well, alternative avenues for that, Twitch being a big one of them. So my Twitch streams are not only a way for me to sort of force myself to just focus on the lighter aspects of both life and myself and my personality. Um, just giving myself that time, 3 to 6 hours or so, uh, 3 times a week, where I am just devoted to whatever I'm doing and having fun doing it. Uh, mainly video games, but focus just on playing that game, having fun, and sharing that experience. Whether people show up to the stream or not is not really the point or all that important. I mean, it is so much better when people actually show up. I can have back and forth conversations, and that is super helpful. But either way, I am sharing all my thoughts and that fun aspect of my personality on a public platform. And that is, I found very important to me, or very important for me. I can't nail down exactly why, but it is. And it very much helps me over the course of the week to keep my mood up and to keep my head a bit clearer. So Twitch is a big one. Then on to the second point of, well, creative outlets. One, I have my art on Instagram. That is certainly a creative outlet. The problem with that, though, is that for me, while I have done some fun pieces of art, it is really an outlet for my illness and my life with it. It's providing visuals to things that are invisible, to things that go unseen. It's that idea of taking something invisible and making it visible that is what drives me and drives the creativity to make art. I've tried to make fun pieces of art, and as I mentioned, I made a few, but they didn't drive me, they didn't inspire me, and they were cool, but they really didn't mean anything to me afterwards. All of my art that has been grounded in illness, suffering, or a visual of me trying to figure out or live my life in this place truly means something to me, whether the art is great or not, because the point of the art isn't to be amazing or to be perfect or to be fantastic. The point of the art is just to provide a visual, and that's all I'm really trying to get out of it. And that's actually really helped me with my perfectionist tendencies. Having a different reason for the art and having a specific goal of just providing a visual rather than it needing to be the best it can be has allowed me to really explore my creativity more and explore art without getting bogged down in perfectionism and the details, which I tend to do from time to time. So that's one of my creative outlets, but it's tied to suffering and my life with illness, describing the harder parts. So when things are going well, or when I feel like a broken record by talking about the same things over and over and over, I lose all real ability to create art. And so that outlet is sort of shut off to me. But even when it's not, it's just not enough, because it is one aspect of my life, one aspect of who I am as a creative outlet, and my creativity is just constantly on a rampage. So I need another outlet, and usually that is different hobbies. I'm usually jumping around from hobby to hobby, learning new things, exploring new things, never sticking around for long because, as I said, my curiosity is always driving me on to the next thing. Game development has been something that I've stuck with longer than anything else. Not necessarily in length of time, in each individual instance, but overall. I started back when I was a high schooler, 15, and I put out my first game solo on the App Store. Did all the development myself, handled all the business aspects of stuff. It was a very ambitious title that was unfortunately super buggy, and I lost the source code and was never able to fix it. So that was a very unfortunate experience. that was brutal trying to put it out, though. My curiosity wanted to do anything but work on that, but I was so stubborn on getting at least one game out. And then I took a massive break from game development, and I tried to go back to it a couple of times. I put out 2 more apps on the App Store, but ultimately I just could not stick to long projects. I liked certain aspects of game development at different times, but rarely all together and never for long enough to actually finish a project. So I kept taking breaks. Right now, I'm back to it because I'm feeling inspired, and I think that this time could be different. So, what might make this time different is that I'm developing for VR. For those who don't know what VR is, I explained it, I think, in the last video, but I'll explain it again. Basically, you have this head-mounted visor with 2 screens that mimic human vision, and then you have some sort of controllers that you hold. And there's a system in place that tracks their movements. So in the game, you're seeing generally floating hands move along with your hands. So you're literally in the game, and your character moves as you move. So you're seeing everything tracked and updated as you're in it. So you're quite literally in the game. And this technology has come a long way since it was introduced. I was alongside the sort of forefront of the consumer products being released, but we're a few years in now, so we're starting to see a lot of development for it, which is great. I'm a little bit late to the party, trying to develop a indie experience, but still early enough that there is so much undone that has yet to be experimented with. So I'm hoping that developing for such an experimental platform that comes with all its own challenges that I have not experienced and that have not, even sort of been mastered because they really can't be at this point in the technology. So I'm hoping that the experimental and sort of diverse, the added diversity and complexity of the platform will really help me stay focused and stick with it because it'll keep my curiosity constantly going. It'll keep me challenged. So yeah, basically, I don't want to get too into it now. I am going to start up devlogs if I stick with this for long. And they'll be a lot like these Ember logs, but focus just on game design. But essentially, the project that I'm working on is going to be a magic game, a game with a magic system, sort of a sandbox type experience. And the core feature that I want to add is the ability to draw symbols in the air to cast the spells. I think that would be very interesting. And with VR, with your hands actually being in the system, I think that is a really, really cool way of interacting, provided that you can, of course, get it to be accurate enough while still being easy enough to use and being really quick. So you draw the symbol and instantly some sort of effect happens. So right now I'm in the process of attempting to develop a system that lets, trying to develop a system that can read or recognize the symbol that's being drawn and compare it against a library of symbols that correlate to different spells or magical abilities. And that has been proving very difficult, but I think I'm close to getting a working version. And as soon as I do, then things will move a little bit faster. Well, at least for the prototype design, to see if this game idea is actually, any fun or anything. Okay, enough about game design. I spent 14 hours working on it today, and I could keep talking about it. I could, forever right now. I'm in that phase of getting interested in something where I am just full bore invested in it. So thankfully, the other great thing is that streams help break up that. So even if I get super invested in this, I will have a much lower chance of burning myself out because I'll be forced to take breaks in order to stream and completely change my mentality and mindset during those streams. So that's super good. But yeah, hopefully this is the secondary creative outlet that allows, that combined with creating photos for Instagram, sort of satisfies the creativity needs that I possess. And this is getting long, so I'm going to try and wrap it up. The third and final thing, of course, was just getting thoughts out of my head. And this is really everything I do is part of this. I have a daily log. It's not really a daily log anymore, but for years I did keep a daily log. I kept journals. I kept tons of blogs over the years where mainly I talked about illness, but really I talked about all sorts of stuff. I've kept game development logs, and I just write a lot. And so, yeah. But so if this tells you anything about the amount of thoughts in my head, I have a daily log that I update fairly frequently. Any of the projects I'm working on, like photo edit ideas or game development logs or game ideas or whatever else, I write those down. I do the Ember Log now on YouTube, where I just ramble about random stuff, and hopefully it is interesting. I also do Twitch, where I not only am focusing on the game, but I can talk about more of the fun and random stuff that I think about. I'm now on Twitter, which I'm trying to use more to get a lot of the just random thoughts about life out. And I have Instagram, of course, where I can try and better process the harder aspects of illness and all of that stuff. It's my form of therapy, both working on the art and making the posts, and it really helps me just get all of those thoughts and feelings out somewhere else where I can better process them, because there's just too much going on in my head at any given time. So yeah, that's really where I'm at with life right now. Those are the things that I'm doing that currently are allowing me some form of stability and quality of life. Obviously, it doesn't help the physical aspects at all, and that still brings with it suffering and emotional hardships and mental hardships and, all sorts of stuff that are unfortunately unavoidable. But within the context of that, all of these new things that I've been doing have been super helpful, and I'm incredibly grateful for the support that people have been showing, be it a little or a lot, depending on the avenue that I've been exploring. But yeah, it's just been great. It's been very helpful. So, as per usual, if you like any of the things that I do, or know somebody who you think would or might gain something from them, I would very much appreciate if you would share them. Be it links to my YouTube channel and the Ember Log, links to the Twitch channel where you can watch VODs or video on demand, which is the archives of all my streams, or you can watch me live Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. If you go to the Twitch page, which will be in the description below, it has my schedule along with an updated tracker for when I'm next going to go live. Or my Instagram, which is probably what most people would link to, because it probably has the most value for other people of anything that I do at this point. But yeah, thank you very much for everyone who has watched this, who has shown support, and especially to anyone who has shared anything that I've done. It seriously means a lot to me, and it's super helpful because, I sort of lack the energy to add any more to my plate, such as promoting myself or getting my stuff out there to people. So yeah, thank you so much. This has gone on way longer than it should have, but I hope it was entertaining. I don't know what I was about to say, as usual. I've been the Chronic Phoenix, this has been the Ember Log, and until next time, hope to see you there.